And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Strategic Command WWI, Cold Arms campaign as the Entente. It should be the beginning of a turn here, as the Entente Powers. We may have had a couple units deployed, but otherwise, we should be where we were. Okay, so we don't yet have our artillery upgraded as the British. How far out are we on our attacks? Artillery weapons for the British, we're at 68%. The French are a little bit farther along at 92. Italians have only got trench warfare and probably need to learn how to dig trenches better. The Serbians... Can the Serbians actually get an artillery? That's a good question. Serbians could get our artillery. So at some point we'll probably want to save up some artillery for the Serbians. Mainly working in trench. Got a little bit of industry going. Which is actually not ineligible for the Serbians. Oh, it probably is ineligible if you're playing against a human player. Because you're likely to lose the country quicker than you can get the return on it. I think it takes like 10 turns of it being on, of actually working, to get a return as Serbia. Okay, the Russians, about 6% behind the British. And then, of course, the Americans here, we're doing industry tech. Because when America does mobilize, that'll be a good return on investment. Yeah, so we don't got that artillery. Do I feel like we got good vulnerabilities to follow up on? I could hit that infantry. I don't think it's going to be worth it. So let's prep up and form proper battle lines. Okay, they're all entrenched. Let's pull the cavalry back. One of these towns. We may be able to get some reinforcement off on it. So that's the Egyptian front. Nice small front, quick to play. And then we have the Mesopotamian front. Okay, let's go ahead and cut the road here on one side, and then bring up the core on the other. Anyway, I'm going to take this 1-to-1 swing. Oh, got 2-0. Okay, so that was definitely a decent trade. So I basically wanted to delete this detachment. It's either going to have to retreat and abandon the town, or it's going to get caught up in there and we'll chew it up. In the long run, we probably want the latter, although it may do the former. So we don't have to be fighting it around Baghdad. For us to regenerate, we're probably going to have to retreat all the way to the ports. So whatever attrition we take is a bit of an issue. Do you want to follow up on that cav? No, because if we were to do that, we wouldn't be in the mountains, and I don't think the town counts as a mountain for attacking purposes. So we'll leave the mountaineer in the town for the moment. Our next target is working towards Trabzon. Okay, we do want to heal these troops before we continue the offensive. Okay. Once we've got the city surrounded, we'll blockade the port. Till then, it's not worth trying to. Okay, they got a ship in that port. Imports do after production, so that's not useful for us right now. Pull the Dreadnought down. Yeah, let's pull the Dreadnought into port down here. Okay, so that's going to be basically the east here. Can definitely take the reinforcement on the depleted unit. I think I'm going to pull these detachments out to form sort of rear guard in case Bulgaria joins. And I don't think we're going to have any particularly good attacks. Yeah, the best we got is a little 1-1 off the Belgrade garrison, which I honestly probably don't want attacking. Unless we think we can kill a unit, so we can keep it full health. Yeah, so that's Serbia. At some point, it might be worth trying to get more Albanian stuff, I think. Yeah, we could get a core for the Albanians. But that would come out of the Russian budget, so we need the Russians to be ready to do that sort of expenditure. We think there's boats up here. Where's my bombers? There's my bombers. Okay. So let's do reconnaissance with the sub. And then we'll hit that with the bomber. Actually, I'll sub it first. And then we'll hit it with the bomber. And then obviously pull the sub back. And then we're safely in port behind a minefield. So the rest of our Russian fleet here should be safe. Zero 3. We'll take a 0-3. Ooh, got a 0-4. Okay, so maybe not ideal because we got the cavalry exposed. But nice trade there. Got 1-3 versus this detachment. There's maybe an argument to try taking the national morale objective, but you're going to want to heal if you could heal. Yes, you can heal. I suppose you weren't entrenched, so it might have been worth actually entrenching instead, but what's done is done. And right now we're kind of trying to inflict attritional losses on the Central Powers while we're waiting for artillery to do more strategic movements. 2-4, I think, is going to be worth taking. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to swing for 3, otherwise we send the cav in to do that. Yeah, so that's the offensive for the moment. Oh, your supply is bad. That's fair enough. Just a quick swamp to pull you farther back. And we're probably getting better supply there. Yeah. So you should be able to reinforce there. I think we're going to do a quick heal. Like so. Could go over strength on you. I don't think now's the time to do that. And we can swap it with cavalry. Okay. So I think that's the eastern front. Move you into the town doesn't make much of a difference. slow and methodical progress in the east. And then the west... we have transports out and about? We do. I think these are for the Egyptian front. I think I've already got one going out to the Persian. Additional one going out to Persia. Okay, and now we just got the Western Front and the Alps. Okay, so I can partially reinforce one of the HQs. I don't think that's necessarily worth doing. Right away. Okay, so we got some operational reserve. We got some French guys in here. So I think we've got, at least until we can spare mountain troops, what we're going to do on the French front, or the Alp front. I don't think we got any good opportunities until we've got the entrenchment out on the Western front. 2-3 is maybe a little tempting. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on it. We got some sub-hunting going on here. And we don't know where the sub is. We just know it's out there somewhere. We got theorems of where the sub may be. There we go. That's one of them. We got some subs running up, or some destroyers running up this line looking for another sub. Hunting the rumor of a sub. Honestly, with the number of rumors we've got of subs on the Russian line, I should probably not export to the Russians this turn. Yeah. So all that's doing is denying the Russians 18 MPP, but if none of it's getting through anyway, then none of it's getting through and it's not worth sending. Yeah. Okay, so that's all the troop movement. I could do some prayer on the fleet. And that actually makes sense with this destroyer. Let's start repairing the destroyer. Okay, sub-dived from attack. Okay, so we can only get 2 of the dreadnoughts in here for this fight. Don't think it's worth it. Hopefully we don't lose the armored cruiser there. Okay, so now it's going to be time to do research and or purchasing of units. British have got 167, 364 for the French. The Talons are basically broke. You'd be saving up for artillery or tech. The Russians don't have enough to pick up an Albanian corps. Maybe an argument to pick up the recon bombers. We do have a little bit of anti-ship damage, so we can try to attrit the ships down. Of course, that's actually more an argument for the maritime bombers. Oh, interesting. Navy 1 or Naval 1 versus Naval 2. So the recon bomber is actually better at hitting ships, and that upgrades. Ah, but the recon bombers don't get any improvements as subs. Not that we're fighting subs right now, so we could definitely do with the recon bombers that work for what we're trying to do. Yeah. Let's grab some more recon bombers so we can attrit the German Navy. If it's hanging up that close to proper Russian land, we should attrit it. I do have airships and recon bombers we can pick up for the French. Oh, we haven't picked up all the French artillery yet, so I should start doing that. We're getting pretty close that we're going to want them for upgrading purposes. British, there's an argument for the artillery, there's an argument for the airships, argument for the recon bombers, maritime bombers. I am going to go with the airship, because it's cheap. And that will help us with trying to find them out in Dogger Bank. And we got 92. I should probably get anti-submarine going for at least the British. Let's do that. Leaves us with 40. Could pick up fighter development for 40. Or airship development for 40. That gives you more range on the airships. Strike range, yeah. So if I'm using them for reconnaissance, that's going to help with the reconnaissance. We'll do that as well. French have got 60, so the French can do a little bit more aggressive/fun stuff. Not enough to pick up ground attack, though. Is enough to pick up long range. Or heavy bombers. I'm guessing we get more fighters by event, because the French have 1. And I'm not allowed to build more. So I suspect we're going to get more. The game's just limiting us from spamming them all out really early on. And a bit of a shame that it doesn't actually tell us when they're coming. Right, so we know the French are getting the airship that we just built and the artillery that we probably built a little while ago. And a mountain corps, which will go help on the Italian front. The British are mostly dreadnoughts, although we did get that airship that we just added. Italian's got an infantry corps. That's a brigade. It's a cavalry brigade. And then there's the recon bomber we just queued up. Which will be coming early next year, which is a bit of a wait. I'm going to invest in fighter development. We can make the fighters better when they show up. And again, I think we're likely to get ground, or the artillery ground weapons. So that's where we're going to be spending mostly next turn. And then I can spend Serbia. I think we're going to save it for the artillery, although I might invest in the keeping the industrial tech going. Let's grab logistics for the Russians. And then we'll cycle the turn. So let's see how the Central Powers respond to our new motions. We still are interdicting the grain in Galatia. Our ships go around the Red Sea. India, UK, and UK-Russia convoys are being raided. Of course, we stopped the our UK-Russia convoy because of that expectation. There's artillery weapons, level 1. Okay. Infantry warfare development, 21 to 38%. Okay. Italy's picked up trench 1. Russia has infantry weapons 1. And heavy bombers, although we don't really need the heavy bombers. Production tech, giving them level 1. Good. So yeah, the French are probably going to grab another artillery and upgrade their artillery, depending upon their attritional losses. We'll see. Might not be able to do the artillery grab. We'll definitely do the artillery upgrade. India is being interdicted, and... Oh, I thought I turned you off. Okay. Or maybe I can't turn it off that much. Can't turn it to 0 or whatever. Subs are attacking the destroyers. So no interceptors in the west yet. Ooh, I think the Germans might have got their artillery upgrades also. I think we're going to have a dead French corps. Oh yeah. There goes a Russian one. Oh, enemy breaking through into our rear. Nothing too concerning on the eastern front. Although I can see that the Germans definitely have infantry weapons 1. Okay. So, manageable losses. We can cut off that Russian that's pulled into our... Oh, I was about to say we could. Then they do another move like that, and now we can't. Okay. Well, we can see that the Central Powers are definitely getting us in dilemmas to deal with when it gets back to our turn. Loss of grain leads to hunger. Unless something goes really wrong, they're not going to be getting that back anytime soon. Okay, so there's transports arriving. Bring our second corps up. Mesopotamian front. Oh, and these guys have arrived as well. Yeah, until we get some artillery upgrades, I think we're not going to be advancing much here, but... Well, the artillery upgrades are in the works, so... I don't think we're advancing until the artillery upgrades is coming is... going to soon be brought about, yes. So I could take some 2-1 swings. I think that's a good plan right now. Finish the cav because it probably needs it. You probably could have gotten away with it not, but we can try and shoot as well. And you're dug in? You're dug in? Okay. Oh, you're in a position where you can upgrade I will upgrade you. Get that +1 across the line. Okay, a little worried about Warsaw. Because we've only got a cavalry garrison in it right now. Although it is kind of what it is. Okay, it looks like the Germans have pulled away, at least for the moment. Okay, that could have been better. Could have been worse too, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Not enough supply there to heal. There's enough to reinforce or to upgrade your weapons. We'll do that. Pull you back behind the line. Russians probably get their replacement. Of course, we can pick it with the infantry weapons. It shows up armed. And then let's try to grab upgrades where we can, so you can take it. Hand it on you. Didn't notice that we heal there. 2 to 4 is tempting, but I'm not going to take it. Actually, no, I will take it. It's against a German unit with upgraded weapons, so decent trade. Okay, there's the Russians, mostly getting spent on upgrading infantry weapons. Okay. Serbian front. We're probably not really doing anything on the Serbian front. Yeah, we're saving it for the artillery, basically. And then we'll need to save it for the artillery upgrade for it to really do significant damage. But if they're not pushing, we'll accept the sort of lull in battle there. Okay, so now we're back at sort of the naval affair. Ah, the sub moved over to the other line. Or may have moved over to the other line. That's where our suspect marker is. That's the one trying to dodge us. That's a different one. Of course, they're dodging from our attacks. That's when we just attack. Well, if there's one good thing I can say, it's that we're successfully keeping the blockade going. You're going to pick up artillery weapons. Are we in a position to really punish that guy? Not really. But the... Do I potentially sacrifice the colonial one? Maybe. Okay, so we're probably going to lose a brigade, another corps here. It wasn't too bad of an attack, and the next turn we're going to have the artillery being able to sing its deadly song and start carrying out pretty good attrition. Otherwise, the French basically didn't take very many, if any, losses. Yeah, that last attack was a bit disappointing. Oh yes, the armored cruiser was safe. I say drinking myself over the intern. Here. We could do a bomb. We're likely gonna hurt ourselves more than we do damage. Let's improve the bomber, so that's most likely to be the case. Of course, we hit the sub on the way out. And of course, I've recovered the bomber, so the bomber can't do anything. We may be losing the destroyer. Okay, so I think that's the Western Front, the Italian Front. Maybe being too aggressive in the Italian Front, to be fair. Especially on the naval front right now. And then, yeah, purchase-wise, the French, they do want their core back, which is tempting to grab, but I think the artillery is going to benefit us more. Probably so, if we can get it as the upgraded artillery. So the first one we're going to have to upgrade when it arrives. The second one will be immediately usable. And then we'll take the depleted core on the next turn. Ooh, Belgium can get fighters and bombers. And yeah, probably do want to save up as the British for artillery, as tempting as more research. Oh, also logistics. I need to go hard on the logistics for the Mesopotamia campaign. Help a lot. Okay, I'm gonna resist the urge to spend everything as the British. Serbians is saving up for artillery. Russians have spent everything, and the Americans. Happily enjoying researching in the background. Okay, let's cycle the turn. I'm, again, still a little worried about Warsaw. Warsaw is worth a lot of national morale hit. That's why we were actually forward deployed where we were, was to get more space between them and Warsaw. Still doing more damage to the hunger. Prime Minister, the Greek Prime Minister, Eleftherios Venizelos, would like to bring Greece into the war on our side, and to achieve this result, he is currently preparing to form a Committee of National Defense at Salonika. Supporting him is therefore strongly recommended, and success would enable us to use the Salonika either as a base for advance into Serbia or towards Constantinople. At the cost of supporting the Venizelos forces in their attempt to seize power in Salonika will cost both the UK and France 100 MPPs each at 50 MPPs a turn. Do you wish to support them? Failed coup would result in Greece entering the war on the side of the Strategic Powers, to the King of Greece's support for Germany. It is therefore recommended you say yes to this. By saying yes, you are committing both France and the UK to pay their resources. Support for the Venizelos forces that would be formed, rising succeeded. Neither the Greek army nor navy is likely to play any significant part in the war unless Greece is actually invaded. Okay. So we won't necessarily get a lot of troops for this, but we'll bring Greece in and allow us to start deploying troops on it. We'll say yes. So we did get industry tech, which is nice. US got industry tech 1. 162 because we're sending 50. 313 because we're sending 50. Italy's doing okay. Serbia's doing fine. India. Okay. We'll see if we can hold Warsaw long enough for me to get a proper corps into it. Proper infantry corps. Okay, looks like they're digging in rather than attacking, which is good for me. Big gun shell Belgrade. Here's the German counterattack to break the Brussels pocket. Now the question is that artillery upgraded? I'm gonna go with a yes. We just lost the fortress. Yes, we just lost the fortress. Not sure if we're going to be able to successfully shore up the defenses around Warsaw. Ninth Corps suffers attrition. Loss of grain, causing hunger. Russian morale plummets. Blockade continues. Okay, so we know where that one is. Because the intelligence report is telling us. Are you in strike range? You are. Doesn't do any damage, but take the swing. Okay, so that's going to be a different front. The Ottomans are attacking, but otherwise everything's under control. Preparatory bombardment. This isn't going to get rid of entrenchment, it's going to damage the morale a lot. Okay, here we go. Deleted a unit, hit the HQ, push through the town. So yeah, there's no likelihood we're going to take the fortress back. Question here is, can we keep Warsaw? Hopefully those trenches help. Okay. get a little bit better coverage on the bit of the front that I'm worried about there. Oh, apparently I bombed the fighters. They did not appreciate that. Okay, we got our destroyers back to port. Speed of recover. A little tempting to take swing with you, but no, we should have you recover as well. Although maybe there's a better argument that you need to get your trenches. Same sort of thing with you. It's tempted to attack, but I probably should recover with you. Try to get the Italian HQs more operational. Okay, let's get the French artillery here, shelling up the fortress of Brussels. Adjust the trenches. You take up the position there where we've got trenches. Okay. So, with the artillery, every couple of turns we'll be able to just delete one German unit consistently from here on out on the Western Front. Hopefully that'll start to pull the Germans back from other fronts, because I'm actually more concerned about the Germans on other fronts than I am about on the Western Front right now. As weird as that sounds. Okay, 6 damage. I think it's time for you to start coming back. What's the... Let me double check the key button here. Key binding. Control. Okay. Yeah, I think sitting on these blockade lines doesn't cause us any supply damage, so we just sort of sit out there sort of indefinitely. Oh, there's another one on the other line as well. Yeah, weren't able to find it with that. Yeah, we're having a terrible day trying to find all the subs. Subs are effective. What they do. Okay, so not enough to pick up artillery as the Serbs. That offensive is going well. This offensive, well, this defense at this point is not going super well. We've lost the fortress. The Germans have demonstrated their artillery is capable. I suppose, what can we do? Russians, we can pick up the detachment again. Let's do that with infantry weapon 1. French, grab your replacement corps. Both replacement corps. British should probably save up for the artillery. Unless I'm going to be lured away with more technology. Tempting to grab artillery 2. If I'm going to be lured away, it's going to be on logistics, but we've already got them all invested. Got 2, we got 3 more in the works. That'll take us up to max. Industry's a little tempting, but it's not going to speed us up at this point. I don't think so. We'll want to invest in it next turn, I think. French, we spent everything. The Italians, we spent everything. Serbians want to pick up the artillery next turn. Then they'll probably start on artillery weapons. Russians. Got production, which is going to make the infantry cheaper to replace. Not necessarily better, but cheaper to replace. Oh, I should probably start on next infantry weapons. And we'll take production tech. Americans completed industry tech. It's going to be a little bit longer before they can afford the next one. Well, the next one. Again, we'll try to max out the Americans. That might be a lost cause. I might not have quick enough return on investment, but it is what we're doing. Okay. Worked out what we're going to do for the turn. Let's cycle the turn, see how the Central Powers continue to treat us. And we're due for a part break. So we continue to cause them to lose that grain. More units of Kitchener's new army deploy. UK develops logistics level 3. Okay, that'll help out in Mesopotamia. Industry tech level 1. Breakthrough on fighter development. Gas shell production level 1. That means the French are going to shoot faster. Belgium moves their government back. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of rating on the trade lines. Well, I've turned that off as much as I can, but it is what it is. They're almost only going to put something back in that fortress town. Someone hit the naval mines. The Germans have it. I would not be surprised if the Austro-Hungarians have the artillery upgrade. Okay. Warsaw holds for another turn. And we're still causing that hunger, Austria-Hungary. Unrestricted tax on trade in St. George's Channel. Unrestricted naval warfare is actually happening. Lusitania has been sunk. And our blockade continues. You know, that's probably buffing the Americans' MPP. Because they're more favoring entering the war. Italian 5th Corps was the corps that we lost earlier, so it's maybe not surprising that it's arriving for redeployment. Before I continue playing, this is where we're going to put the first part break in of the stream. I think that was the end of the 5th part as far as all the recordings go for this run. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, we're going to take a short break, and then I will be back to record 3 more parts tonight. So with that, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.